Rio, Brazil, early evening, 11th of August 2016. Suva, Fiji, early morning, 12th of August. The excitement was building. Fiji had never won any Olympic medal, and now they were facing Great Britain in the finals of the inaugural Olympic Rugby7s competition. Their first Olympic medal was assured, but would it be silver or gold? The match lasts just 7 minutes and a half with a 2-minute interval in between. Tensions ran high. Would the boys playing for Fiji deliver a goal in the next 16 minutes? By half-time, Fiji were out of sight. The gold medal was theirs to lose. They ran, they tackled, they smiled, and they celebrated. The team and the whole of Fiji rejoiced. At the final whistle, it was Fiji 43, Great Britain 7. The gold medal was theirs. And they repeated this again in 2021 at the Tokyo Olympic. They beat New Zealand 27-12. Good day, I'm Clarissa, and I'm going to talk about the history of Rugby7s, the HSBC Rugby7 series, and why I love it. First of all, let me tell you a little bit of history in Rugby7s, which is also known as Sevens. Sevens was invented in Melrose, Scotland in April 1883. Melrose were facing financial difficulties, and legend has it that a young Ned Haig suggested an abbreviated version of rugby as a way to raise funds, and he was supported by David Sanderson. The first ever Rugby7s game was played on the 28th of April, 1883 in Melrose, Scotland. 7 clubs from the Scottish border competed in the event. From the humble beginnings of the Games of Sevens, it grew with the first international tournament, which took place in Edinburgh in 1973 to mark the Scottish Rugby Union. The competition was won by England. In 1976, the world-famous Hong Kong Sevens commenced with 12 teams and 3,500 spectators. Today, the competition attracts 40 teams and 120,000 spectators over 3 days. In 1993, World Rugby introduced the Sevens World Cup, which is played every 4 years. England were in the inaugural winners, and New Zealand are the current champions. World Rugby acknowledged Melrose Club by naming the World Cup Melrose Cup. Following the success of the World Cup, the World 7 Series commenced in 1996. Now we know some history about Sevens, I want to tell you about the World 7 Series, currently sponsored by HSBC. The series takes place between November and June each year, and is played in some of the most spectacular cities in the world. Hong Kong Sevens remains the premier event for the Rugby7s, and is now part of the HSBC Sevens, and it's the event that all the teams look forward to. Hong Kong Sevens is the spiritual home for Sevens. Following on why I love Sevens. The first time I watched Sevens was in April 2016, when my dad took me to Singapore for the World Rugby7 stop there. This was the first time the competition had come to Singapore. When we walked into the stadium, it was massive and had loads of empty seats. We were the early birds there for the first game. There was lots of food stalls and people giving out free gifts. When the first game of the 24 started, there was so much excitement. My dad explained the game to me while they were playing, and as I understood it more, my excitement grew. With every game, we would discuss which team we'd want to win, and to give the team that we supported, England, the best chance of making it to the finals. As the crowd grew, there were people dressed up in different costumes, from dinosaurs to sumo wrestlers, the Japanese supporters. Some painted their faces in the team's colours or nation's flags, and every try that made the crowd go wild. There was teams from 16 countries, spectators from all ages supported each of the teams while they played. They mingled happily and had fun, and teased when your team would make a mistake as a taunt. Tournaments last over a weekend with a total of 42 matches. We have been to every single Singapore Sevens held since. In conclusion, from the humble beginnings in Melrose 1883, Sevens has become a fun family sport with a world audience of millions. Sevens, a sport that is still celebrated in its humble beginnings with a tournament in Melrose every April. I love the game, and Dad and I are planning a trip to the spiritual home of Sevens, Hong Kong, in the near future. Thank you for listening.